Hey guys, you just checking in today. I want to talk about handheld gaming, and I think with AAA development having more microtransactions, DLC, and stuff, and me thinking that if this is the only way for AAA developers to make a profit or to make all their money back that they're investing towards making these huge products, because games are getting more expensive, then I don't want a part of this. So as of now, I'm taking a stand. I'm not going to buy any more DLC, season passes, and the only time I will do something like that is when they're on sale on Steam, because I'm not paying $50 fucking for something else. If I spend $60 on a game, deal with it. I'm not standing with this. I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. I'm not standing it. Anyways, enough about that little rant. Let's talk about handheld gaming and why I think it's going to die, and why I think it's the first. Why I think it's the first section of gaming that's going to go through this recession, because I think eventually once people, and by people I also am talking to you casuals, once you guys wake up and realize that you're paying over $100 for a game and it's full content, it's unacceptable. I mean, think about it this way. That's almost a third of the price of buying a PS4 or an Xbox One, and in some cases it is a third of buying a console. So I just do not think that's acceptable. But let's get into it. So the first basic fact that you need to know about phones is between Nvidia and Snapdragon, phones are getting much more powerful. In fact, you'll be blown away by some of the visuals that you see in games nowadays compared to the 3DS or the PS Vita. Next thing is that having a phone in your hand versus having a 3DS or a PS Vita is more socially acceptable. People will generalize you with that gamer stigma if they catch you with a PS Vita and 3DS. Obviously, people care about perpetuating images of themselves, but also society has the wrong perception of gamers. Not all the time, just whenever society pictures gamers, they immediately see this couch dweller in the basement just sitting in a dark room playing a game, which it's not a bad thing. But like I said, it's all just how we perceive games. I'm a gamer at the end of the day, so I guess I'm a little more lenient and acceptable towards that sort of thing. But I also think that we need to be more social. I'm not talking to all of us, but this isn't that commentary. I'll make that video some other time. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about was the PS Vita. And I kind of wanted to discuss this topic because the CEO or somebody at Sony was talking about the Vita, and I didn't cover this on my channel, but he said that a big reason that the Vita actually did not succeed was due solely in part by phones. And yes, phones play a big role, but do not use phones as a fallback or a crutch as to why your product sold like cancer. Even though it didn't sell that much, I guess that was okay. Let's just move on from that reference. But the PS Vita, let's compare the PS Vita games to the PSP games, and arguably the most controversial topic about the PS Vita. I'm just gonna be talking about general games, and I know what you guys must be saying. Oh, the PS Vita's only been out for like 4 or like 3, or I think it's been out for a while actually. But the game library still, you could tell by now, and Sony not saying much to support the PS Vita, the titles are not going to get that much better. All that we're going to get is a bunch of JRPGs, and trust me, I'm fine with JRPGs. You guys know that I'm a big JRPG gamer, but I also want to look at the grand scheme of things in the picture, and that we need more than one genre of games if you want your console to sell well. So PS Vita games, let's go over a few. Uncharted, Killzone, the MGS Collection, Persona 4 Golden Edition, the YS games or Ys games, however you say them. I played Resurgence, that was fun. Final Fantasy X and X-2 Remastered, Borderlands 2, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and indie games. And also there's many more indie games and Japanese titles. But let's go into the PSP games, and you tell me guys that this list does not sound superior. Dexter, Ratchet & Clank, Resistance, Gran Turismo, Little Big Planet, Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep, God of War, Chains of Olympus, Persona, Final Fantasy VII, Crisis Core, Rainbow Six Vegas, my bad, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Valkyria Chronicles, Dragon Ball Z, Shin Budokai Another Road, Dragon Ball Z, Tenkaichi Tag Team, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Heroes, Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles, or First and Second Chronicles, Grand Theft Auto, and the list just continues. There were so many kick-ass games that came out, and it kept the PSP alive. Furthermore, when the PSP came out, it was one of the first gaming consoles that could handle picture storage, music, gaming within itself, pictures, and just connecting to the internet and giving you more of an infrastructure or a console that gave you this feeling that you could play both games, and you could do all this other stuff. The 3DS is not exactly the same story. Nintendo really followed up with what made the DS so popular. It had more third-party support back in the day, and it doesn't have as much third-party support, but people think that the first-party games are amazing, and, you know, it's each his own, really, I guess. So, you know, the 3DS is still selling very well to this day. I think it's over like 50 million units, which is insane, and kudos to Nintendo. At least you guys did something right. And yeah, but back to the PS Vita, there are so many reasons why that console also didn't do well, because in the grand scheme of things, it upgraded itself from the PSP, but by the time the PSP was already upgraded, phones were they were gone. I mean, with phones you can do gaming, all that stuff, streaming, better browsing, texting, calling, social media, and just all this stuff that you can't do with the PS Vita. The phone took it and it ran with it, and I guess you can thank Apple for really inspiring all this stuff. But something I wanted to leave this video off on was that the really big business appeal to making phone games is, you know, you can produce phone games for fairly cheap and yield very high rewards. I mean, look at the guy that made Flappy Bird. That man probably took, what, maybe an hour or two coding that game. Then he made $54,000 a day off ad revenue, or like 50 grand a day off ad revenue. I'm just gonna let that settle in your mind. So guys, just let that settle in your mind. 50 grand a day. Or the final thing is the perception of gaming. I'm just gonna wrap this video up right here. Gaming on a phone, it's okay. It's like gaming on Facebook. People are gonna just gravitate to be like, oh my god, because it's more casual and more appealable, and it's not on a console where you have a controller in your hand, it's not as bad, and you're not gonna be generalized as one of these people who game with phones in their hand. However, because it's more casual, it's more acceptable. So I know I might be missing a few things, like I'm not talking about microtransactions and all the shitty games that come out on phones and all these developers that are trying their hardest to make it big on phone games. But I think that the thing about phone games is that, just, you know, with the PS Vita not having amazing support, the 3DS not being for everybody but still having a pretty huge monopoly in the mobile gaming or handheld gaming market, and just the fact that phones are getting more and more powerful and they're fulfilling all the necessities that we used to go to the 3DS or the PS Vita for. Sure, we can't get all the first party content from the 3DS, but we're still going to be able to do almost everything that we want to do. But let me know what you guys think about mobile gaming and all that stuff. And yeah, I guess that's about it. You should check it out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Have a good one.